Welcome to the Downsized Dish. This is the weekly interview series where I talk to people who are on a GLP-1 medication. We talk about their weight loss journey and the medications that they may be on, like Wegovy, Ozempic, Mounjaro, and Zepbound. I'm your host, Laraine Durham, and I've lost 49 pounds on the GLP-1 medication, compounded Tirzepatide, and it's my goal to share stories of my weight loss and stories of other people's weight loss and how they've used these medications to lose weight. Please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss an interview. Today we're talking to Selena, a 52-year-old wife and mother who has tried many diets, as we all have, before starting her GLP-1 journey. Welcome, Selena. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very well today. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Selena.
Well, as you mentioned, I'm 52 years old. I have one son. He's 24. I'm married. My husband, sidebar, I'll just say my husband is one of those folks that has never needed any help with weight loss. He's 18% fat, 8-pack abs,
Oh
can
my
eat
God.
whatever he wants, and has never had a gym membership. So,
Wow.
so this has been a
I wonder
journey.
what that's like.
Zero idea.
Right.
But so this has been a journey for both of us, and he's been extremely supportive.
Well,
Uh,
that's great.
I'm also an assistant principal. My job is very high stress. We have about 1,800 students. I supervise about 500 students, seventh and eighth graders. Over 60% of our population are ESL learners, so English is their second language.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of stress with my job. I've been doing in the education field for over 32 years now.
That's
And
amazing.
I've,
Yeah.
I've found that stress eating definitely a part of my relationship with food. So that's what
Yeah.
I've been working on as well.
Middle school, God bless. That's like the roughest period of life. To have to deal with that for every day, that would be rough indeed. But thank you for doing that, because I certainly could not do that.
I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. I love my babies.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Tell me about your weight loss journey.
Well, as you mentioned, I have been on everything. I've been Weight Watchers, Juice Cleanse, the JJ Smith the Green Smoothie Cleanse, LA Weight Loss. Oh goodness, I could go on and on. Vegan, vegetarian, flexitarian, pescatarian, whole foods, no foods, just everything. I've been on everything. I've tried pills, powders, just everything, just trying to come to grips with what I now understand is a broken metabolic system. So it was really, really hard for me to, me and my husband would go to the doctor and he would have such a clean bill of health. My bill of health would be really just not good, just
Yeah.
not good. And so last year I got my labs, and the doctor has the same story. You got to lose weight. You got to do this. You have to do that. And I've heard it so many times. It's kind of like, okay, all right, thanks again.
Right.
Thanks again. I feel bad. But I was watching television one day, and Charles Barkley, of all people, he comes on and he talks about Mounjaro, as he says in a real country kind of way. He says, I'm taking Mounjaro. I don't know what it does, but I'm down 50 something pounds. And I've never been a Charles Barkley fan. But one thing I know about Charles, and if he's watching, he can certainly, I would love to tell him thank you. I know he's not trying to sell me anything. And I know that he's saying whatever he believes is right and how he really feels. So I sat back and I thought about it. He's no big celebrity, again, just backed up by a different company or whatever. He
Yeah.
was just on there. He said, I don't even know what it does. So I said, wow, what is this Mounjaro? I began to look into it. I went to my doctor the next week, and I had a whole list of things of, this is what I researched, this is what I could find, this is what, I was ready to defend myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, this is what I would like to do. And he said, okay. And I said, I'm ready to defend myself. You don't have to defend yourself. I said, oh, okay, fine. So he put in a prescription. And then, of course, I found out that my insurance didn't cover it.
Mm.
I was able to use the coupon for 6 months.
Uh-huh.
In that 6 months, I believe I lost about 30 pounds or so.
Mm-hmm.
I believed in going low and slow. I did titrate up twice too fast.
Oh.
And that's another part of the interview, I'm sure. And then I transitioned over to the compound. So I've been on compound Tirzepatide from January until now.
Okay. Okay. So your total weight loss is 30 something, I think you said?
Oh, no, no. So in
Oh,
the first 6 months, it was
okay.
30 pounds.
Uh-huh.
Now I am at a little over 52 pounds. My starting weight was 220. My highest weight was 265. And so that wasn't 265 in 2014. I think that was around 230. That was close to my highest weight in 2015. I have gone up and down like most people have.
Yeah.
So my highest weight at one point was 265. My weight January 2023 was 223. On my own, I was able to lose 3 pounds between January and July of 2023. When I started Mounjaro, I was 220.
Mm-hmm.
And by that December, I was probably around 210, 208, somewhere around there,
Mm-hmm.
200. Anyway, so altogether, I've lost about, today as we sit here, I'm 168 with a goal of to be 164 and to go between 164 and 169. Right now,
That's
I'm
awesome.
about a size 8 in dresses and in pants. I did buy one size, a pair of jeans that were a size 4. So
Ooh.
they were stretchy, but I was so happy just
Yeah,
to see
no.
it before.
I get it. I totally get it. I totally get it. It's such a amazing feeling to like find that smaller size and you're like, "Ooh, and it buttons." Yay.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome. So, yeah, here's some of your pictures that we're talking through. So, I mean, you look great. I mean, this picture, you can definitely see it in your face, just amazing. And this one I love because it's the same dress, and you can definitely see the progress there. So, congratulations on your weight loss.
well, let me just say this, Lorraine. If you go back to the pink dress,
Yeah.
that dress is very special to me because, as you can see, I started Mounjaro Independence Day of 2023. So that was only 2 days after I had taken my first injection.
Okay.
And I had already felt like, hey, this is doing something. I don't know what it's doing, but I felt good. I felt so much better on the inside that I started to just look at life in a different way. And it had only been 2 days. And that's why that dress is so important. Now, when I took that at the end of June, I said, let me just see what the differences are. And the inflammation, I had no idea how very much inflamed I was
Yeah.
until I actually was able to see what I look like in my favorite dress.
Yeah, that's awesome. I also want to go back to your doctor. How great was he that he was like, "Okay, yeah." You didn't have to like really fight him on it. He was very open to the idea, I guess.
Let me go back and say this. He was getting, at this point, I had done so much research. He was getting Jaro and Ozempic mixed up. And I was like, no, it wasn't that. So he wasn't necessarily a believer. He believed enough
Okay.
to put me on it. Like when I lost my first 20 pounds, I know a lot of people experience constipation. And if you don't know how to work with it, how to deal with it, and I'm glad I joined a lot of groups and I was able to learn a lot of things. One person told me to reach out to my doctor to get a prescription. And he said to me, oh, well, if you're having those problems, maybe you should stop the medication. I said, oh, no, I will not. So I told my group what he said, and they said, "Oh, no, no, no! This is what you do. You do
Yeah.
this, this, and this, and this, and this." So the fact that he was ready to throw out the baby with the bathwater, I was like, after the first 20 pounds, I said, oh, absolutely not. This is the first thing that's working for me. Absolutely not.
So you were educating the doctor.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
he was willing to do it. And then with my last set of labs,
Mm-hmm.
me and my husband go to the doctor together. And
That's
enjoy. He was like, well, what about, he said, well, how are you doing with your anemia? He said, I can see all of your lab work looks great. What about your sleep apnea? I said, I don't have that. What about your endometriosis? I don't have that. How are you doing with your PCOS? It's fine. I no
wow.
longer have to have a hysterectomy.
Wow.
I know. And this is once I did all of the blood work, and even my fibroids had
Wow.
shrunken,
Shrunk. Yeah.
and many of them passed.
Wow.
I had my endometrium wall got smaller, and you can see all of this in the lab work. So
Yeah.
when people began to talk crazy about the medication or unintelligently about the medication, I tell them,
Mhm.
do your research, because the more data that comes out, I know some data is not what we all want to hear, but for
Mhm.
me, I can say to not have to go through a surgery when a lot of those issues plague my family. Many, like even my mother, had to get several DNCs
Oh
over
wow.
the span of her life because of endometriosis. So for me to say that I don't have to have that surgery and to be able to report back to my doctor, and for me and my husband to have a clean bill of health, was
That's
amazing.
that's great. I hadn't heard anyone talk about endometriosis related to this medication before, so that's very interesting. I'm very glad that it was able to clear that up for you, and the fibroids and the PCOS. Like you
It's
have
all
so
insulin related.
yeah. I
It's
mean that's
all insulin related, and people don't know that
okay. I
insulin
didn't know that.
feeds
Yeah.
the fibroids.
Oh, okay. So if
Mhm.
you can manage that insulin, then there's nothing to feed them, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's fascinating. That really is fascinating. So you mentioned sleep apnea. Were you on a CPAP machine or anything, or had you just been snoring or
I was not on this. I was supposed to be on the sleep on the CPAP machine, but I didn't. I just couldn't. I could not put a contraption on and then try to fall asleep.
yeah,
I've done some of the studies and all of that. It became so bad that my husband would have to get out the bed and go and sleep on the couch.
oh.
And like if I fell asleep first, he wouldn't even try. I think it was about how much weight was up here in
Yeah,
my chest area. And within the first 20 pounds, I could say that the sleep apnea subsided.
that's great. Yeah, Christopher, my husband, had the same issue. Horrible snoring, like through our whole marriage, and I think it was in the first 20 pounds too. It was like I don't hear him snoring anymore. I don't, So it just took all that away. That's awesome. Let's see. So what dose are you on, and what's been your schedule of dosing?
Okay, so this is going to be a little off the beaten path. So I follow Dr. Tina, Tyna.
I've watched her and I've listened to her. Yeah. Okay.
I absolutely love her, and I love the way that she talks about the medication, the
Mm-hmm.
way she talks about how so many times we are overdosing on the medication, and that we need to think about what microdosing looks like.
Yeah.
So right now I'm not quite at maintenance. I have 4 more pounds for maintenance.
Okay.
So I take about 12 milligrams. And again, I like the compound because I'm able to
Control.
figure out the dosing that works best for me.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that 7.5, I think everybody gets that one dose where they feel like, hey, this dose is my jam. This is it for me. So 7.5 was that dose for me. Um, but I did feel like I needed to. So you know what? Let me just go back. So I did 2.5 when I first started. And again, I didn't have a whole bunch of information. I did a lot of research, but I didn't know how I was going to deal with my body. So when it was time to go back to school, I said, oh, I don't want to have these terrible side effects again, the side effects, and I'm dealing with 500 students. So I decided to go from 2.5 to 5 milligrams, even though the 2.5 was working. So I regret that. I regret going up when I didn't need to. It was just in my mind, like, I don't want to have to deal with all of this. And then I have these children. So
Yeah.
I went up to 5 milligrams. 5 milligrams worked well for about 6 weeks. And then I was like, oh, this is not it. I was doing everything, but I just did not feel the amount of suppression. I didn't feel the way I felt on 2.5.
Hmm.
So I said, okay. I asked my group, and they said, well, try the 7.5. Was doing great on 7.5 for several months.
Mm-hmm.
7.5, 7.5, 7.5. And then they said, oh, your coupon is about to run out. And, it was a scary time that in December. I think
Yeah.
everybody was thinking about, what are we going to do now? What are we going to do next? So the next mistake I made is I went up to 10. I said, let me hurry up and get as much out of this as I can. Had no reason to go up to 10 whatsoever. Second,
Yeah.
I regret that too. Should not have done it.
Hmm.
Anyway, so I go up to 10. 10 drugged me it literally pulled me along for the entire month.
Hmm.
I was like, I cannot do this. 10
Oh,
was way too much
it
for
was too
myself.
much. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it was way too for me. And one of the ladies said, well, you're on it now. Just let me help you try to get through it. And so I got through the month, almost zero appetite. Now, that's not what I wanted, because I wanted to incorporate the tools along with the medication.
Yeah.
Because the tool is nice, but healthy habits are better.
Right.
So I went back down to 7.5. And the craziest thing, 7.5 was now maintaining me. Then I had to go back up to 10. It was the craziest roller coaster. I had to go back up to 10.
Your body was used to it, so you had to. Yeah.
So I went down, went back up, went down, went back.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm on 12. So what I do is I take 2 microdoses of the 12. So I'll take 6 milligrams on Wednesday and 6 milligrams on Sunday. And because of that particular type of schedule, I don't deal with what they call the half-life.
Yeah.
And so when it starts to kind of leave your system a little bit,
Yeah.
I don't deal with that. So it's like when I take it, it kind of sustains itself throughout the week. So
Are you getting good appetite suppression with that, or do you still get a little hungry, or no?
not at all.
So
Not at all.
I
It sustains itself.
I am very intrigued by that, because I've gone back down to 7.5. Back on my way, I'm kind of in maintenance. I'm in maintenance. So I've gone back down to 7.5, and I kind of feel like, after that 5-day half-life, by day 5, day 6, I'm like, what can I eat? So I'm interested. Maybe I'll try doing the 2 shots. Would you say Wednesday and Sunday?
That's the way that I take mine. And so I have a whole theory, a whole thought. Some of it is from Dr. Tina, some of it is from another YouTuber that I've listened to. So I just realized my face is really okay. Maybe I should do that.
Sorry, I keep leaning in. I want to know more.
I'm thinking I'm looking bigger, so much bigger. But anyway, so what I'm going to start to do is I'll do 6 on Wednesday, 6 on Sunday. And then as I titrate down, I'll do 5 and 5, then 4 and 4, 3 and 3, 2 and 2, and maybe get to 1 and 1. And then my goal is to transition over to semaglutide. A girlfriend said, well, number one, the cost.
Oh.
So I'm paying right now about $400 a month.
Yeah.
For compound. I even sold, I should have sent you all a picture. I sold a 1978 Chevy Nova. That it was my old school car. My husband collects old school cars. And I wanted to have my own. So I purchased this at a really good price, and then I sold it because I said to myself, my husband has been so great with all of these ideas that I've had about losing weight. I said, I can't ask him for another thing that's going to come out of our, family pot. So
Yeah.
I just said, you know what? I'm going to invest in myself as my car. I'm going to sell it. And then I'm
Wow.
going to fund my own thing over here because it is costly.
Yeah.
Um, and so he wouldn't have mind, obviously. But at the same time, I wanted to take full accountability and responsibility for what I was going to be doing. So
Yeah.
anyway, semaglutide, as you know, the compound version is about $200 a month.
Yeah.
Look at the efficacy for semaglutide, it has about a 15% efficacy rate, and
Uh-huh.
tirzepatide is about 21,
Funny.
22%
Yeah.
efficacy. But
Yeah.
when it comes down to maintenance, if I no longer am interested in losing the weight and I'm interested in maintaining, why would I not use semaglutide for a maintenance dose? So I'll be talking to my doctor about what the maintenance dose should be and
Yeah.
how to transition it over. It might just be when I get down to the lowest dose of tirzepatide,
Yeah.
or he may have a different um, idea for me to transition over.
You're going to blow his mind with that because I mean, I'd be shocked if any doctor right now was talking about microdosing like Dr. Tina is talking about microdosing. So it's that's a very interesting idea. So my thought would be, well, when you go from the tirzepatide low dose to a semaglutide low dose, would you feel different side effects? Would you feel any side effects? Would you feel I really let me know like how that goes because and like you said it would be what about $150 a month cheaper. And yeah, I'm paying about same as you for the compound. I think it's 404 a month is what I pay for the tirzepatide. So, and really thinking about this long term, like how are we gonna keep how am I gonna keep affording this? I like that idea a lot. I definitely want to know more about that. And I wonder with the microdose as you go down in dose, I wonder will it still be effective? Or if at that point the food noise comes back or I guess you'll just have to like I tell people as I go down, I'll just have to get there and see. Like I don't know. Like there's not a lot of studies on that I've seen. There's not a lot of people doing that. So
Well, you know what? If I could just jump in and say this, I think there was another study that came out just recently, and I saw another YouTuber talk about it. And just basically, the studies show about 77% of the people that were kind of looked at in the data were white females. So I think only 10% were females of color. So I'm Afro-Indigenous, so they didn't necessarily look at me.
yeah.
And I think a lot of the information that I've gotten have been from, I don't want to say underground, but maybe some of these outliers, these populations of outliers that have not been tested that are saying, okay,
Huh.
what you need to do for your skin. This is what you need to do for your hair. This is what you need to do in terms of protein. This is what you need to do because some things are different. Everything's not the same. So I think when I listen to my friend Sabrina, who's a nutrition coach, she's the one that talked about switching over from tirzepatide to semaglutide. She's done it and has done it well and been able to maintain for well over a year.
Wow. Okay.
You're going to hear in a lot of groups in terms of the microdosing. That's also something that I heard from my girlfriend Stephanie, who actually found the microdosing calculator that can tell you if you put numbers in it. I'll send it to you, but if you put numbers in it, it'll tell you if you say you're going to take 4 milligrams every 4 days, it'll actually tell you how much peptide is in your system.
I've seen that, I think. Yeah. That somebody else sent me that calculator so you can see like as the half-life goes down, but then it like because every month you're going up, it's like slow and then it slowly I guess goes back down. Yeah. That's
I think what she showed me was, say if I did 12 milligrams once a week, and she was able to calculate this for me over the
yeah.
phone. And she said at any one point, the highest might be 18 milligrams in my system, but the
Yeah.
lowest might be 5 milligrams in my system. So
Wow.
she said it's going like this by taking it once a week. Once you take it twice a week, then it kind of stabilizes it. I think
Mhm.
she said the highest might have been 13 or 14 milligrams at any one point, and maybe down to 9 or 10. So it was a much steadier state. And
Yeah.
I do not, I've been doing this 6 weeks now. I do not feel any, I don't have, it's the same type of suppression from the beginning of the week to the end.
That's fascinating. Yeah, I think I might try that. Thanks for that tip. I love that. Yeah, that's that I've got my wheels turning now. That's awesome. Well, let's talk about your side effects. Did you have any side effects going through?
Well, I think my side effects were based on how I rotated, because I was one that took advantage of rotating.
Okay.
And so my thighs gave me the least amount of side effects, basically no side effects. So whenever I traveled, whenever I caught a plane, whenever I did something that I knew was a stressful week at work, then I would purposely do one of my thighs, thinking
Huh.
about the week ahead.
Interesting.
And I think I didn't do my arms till mm, maybe about 2 or 3 months in, only
Okay.
because I couldn't figure out how do you get, but
Yeah.
I was able to figure it out. My husband did, he did good at first. And then one time he was watching TV and I said, "Hey, why don't you can you get my arm?" Then the medication's dripping down. I said, "You know what?" He was like, "I was paying attention." I said, "No, you weren't." Anyway, so
That's money falling down my arm.
I was like, "You owe me."
Yeah.
So when I want the most weight loss,
Mm-hmm.
and the most side effects that come with it is normally in my stomach. Normally, my lower abdomen is where, I'm like, but I can deal with a little bit of nausea. And when I say a little bit, I just take a ginger chew, knocks it right out.
Yeah.
No
Okay.
problem. I've never had vomiting. I've never had diarrhea, only a tad bit of nausea, and constipation has probably been the highest thing. And I deal with that as I take a bottle of citrate once a month,
Huh.
because you don't want to overwork your
Whoosh it all.
system.
Just whoosh it
Oh,
all out.
yeah, and I make sure I stay home.
Yeah. Oh,
When they first told me, they said, "Oh, take citrate." The first hour, nothing. The second hour, nothing. The third hour, I said, "These ladies are telling stories." So I decided I'm going to not just sit in the house and wait. I'm going to go to Red Lobster.
oh no.
Thank God it was close. So I was able to get on back home. And then I eat 5 prunes a day.
Okay. So
With
just
the
keeping
extra
that
the
fiber going.
water.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it's just kind of keeping up with that. And that has been particularly helpful in terms of the constipation.
Okay. Yeah, I struggle with that myself, and I got kind of lax about taking my fiber. I take a fiber gummy, and I got kind of lax about that. I got kind of lax about my water over the weekend, and I was like, oh no. So I had to take some. I took some Dulcolax, and I don't want to. It just creeps up on you if you're not. But you really got to focus on it like all the time. So
Yeah, I have my water right here. I haven't.
yep. Yay. That's awesome. Well, let's talk about some go-to meals. Like, what are some of the things that you like to eat?
Well, I obviously do a protein forward situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so at work, usually I'll do some type of protein and
Mm-hmm.
some type of solid or vegetable. So I'll do a crab cake and a cucumber salad. And that's always really good for me. I also do the 42 grams of protein with Fairlife.
Oh yeah, those
Oh,
shakes. Mm-hmm.
I love the way that it tastes. And then I have a sachet of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put the sachet of coffee in the protein shake,
Ah.
it up. add some ice, and I drive about an hour and 15 minutes to work. So that's what I have as my morning breakfast, is 42 grams of protein
Yeah.
in it. And I think my protein goal is about 100 to 110 grams of protein, something like that.
Yeah, that's great.
So for dinner, and it's so much easier, like, because my husband doesn't have to eat the same thing that I eat. I just
Mhm.
add carbs to his.
Oh.
And so if I'm making the crab cakes, or if I'm having shrimp and asparagus, then I'll just add some mashed potatoes or something else to his. And it works out well. It's not so, I don't have to make two different meals.
Yeah.
When I was living a vegan lifestyle, that was horrible. I mean, not that being a vegan is horrible. It was really hard to to live with a person that's not vegan, and then try to make all of the meals was very difficult.
Yeah, I've never attempted to be vegan, so
I tried
and
everything.
yeah, no, I you definitely have tried a lot. That's for sure. Well, let's talk about exercise. You've got some fun exercise things that you do.
Oh, so you'll see behind me is my Maxi Climber 2000 XL.
Uh-huh.
And it's almost like, you're on it. And so it's a full body workout.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely love it, love it, love it, love it. And again, my husband was really, really good about, he changed my dining room into a workout space,
Oh, nice.
because we never use the dining room anyway. So I have a row machine that we picked up on Facebook Marketplace. I have a walking pad that I also picked up on Facebook Marketplace for like $50. And he used his bigger curl bar. I have my smaller curl bar. And so I've just created a circuit between the Maxi Climber, the curl bar, and my row machine. So that's what I do at home. I do that 3 times a week for about an hour. That's about 225 calories, 250 calories, somewhere along there.
Yeah.
Um, I also roller skate once or twice a week. And depending on what's happening, I can burn anywhere between 400 calories to 1,000 calories.
That's so fun. Do you go outside or do you have like a place you go?
We do both. We
Okay.
go outside. We also travel to skate. My husband's been skating since he was 7.
Oh, fun. Yeah.
So he is really a skater that everybody stops to watch and see what he's doing. He can do all the tricks, all of the groundwork,
Oh,
rolling
wow.
on the floor. He does all of that. And then I also started taking a belly dancing class. Uh, last, I've taken 2 so far, and I was surprised. I turned on my watch to see what kind of calories it would burn.
Yeah.
150 calories,
That's
and
pretty good.
it's pretty good. And I'm just learning, so it wasn't like I was moving around a whole lot. I'm like, hey, how did I do
You
this?
have the little bell
No,
thing.
I didn't get there yet. I just put the skirt on last week.
Yeah. My mom used to take a belly dancing class in the 70s, and I remember she and her friend had the full like outfit, and they had these cool little bells, and they learned all the moves. That looks really fun. Also roller skating. I loved roller skating as a teenager. I spent many hours, and then I just haven't. It's one of those things that they got older, and I need to find some roller skates and go back to that because that sounds really fun.
Yeah, and I skated in my early 30s. Um, and then I stopped skating for like 8 years. All the pounds came on.
Mm,
All the pounds came on. And then when I came back to skating, I think I was able to, now just think about this. I was coaching a girls softball team 4 days a week, roller skating twice a week, working out twice a week. I was doing everything. I could white knuckle myself down to 195 pounds. But I just looked at a picture yesterday. I was still inflamed.
yeah,
I
it's
had
like
no idea.
you could get same with me. You get so far down, like you said, white knuckling it, but you just I just had that number. I think for me it was 186. I could just never get below, no matter what. And working out like a demon, doing all the things. It's just that lack of hormone in our brain that's stopping us from from getting there.
Yeah, and I also walk approximately 10,000 steps a day.
Yeah. Do you have an Apple Watch? I think I saw your.
No, I have a Samsung.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Anything that I'm doing, I try. At work, it's easier for me to get 10,000 steps.
Yeah. Because
Um,
you're.
our school building is very large, and I'm going from one side to the other. So by 3 o'clock, I'm sorry, somebody, I'm easily at 10,000 steps by 3 o'clock.
That you're exhausted when you get home.
Well, and that brings me to I also take a vitamin B shot
Okay.
um, weekly because that's important. I was sleeping like for 6 weeks. I would just come home and get right into bed,
Yeah.
and I realized later that I was just really way too tired. So I've incorporated that, and then I incorporate vitamins and minerals based on my blood work. And so I think a lot of people want to know, hey, what are you taking? What are you taking?
Yeah.
I'm taking things based on my blood work. So
Perfect.
my vitamin D is low. I know my vitamin D is low, so I'll take a supplement for that. I know I struggled with anemia, so I take an iron supplement. And I
Mhm.
think I would like for people to kind of understand that. Get the blood work, and don't just look at your A1C numbers. Look at your full panel and see what you're missing.
Yeah. I think that's so important. And at your yearly physical, that's a great time to get the full blood panel, ask your doctor. 'Cause sometimes they don't do, like, some years I've been like, I went back through the my chart and like looked, and some years they did more tests than others. So I think you really have to say, hey, I want to know about my vitamin D. I want to know about my iron. And yeah, that's great that you match it up to your needs. Perfect. Awesome. So let's see. What'd you do with all your old clothes now that you can't wear them anymore?
Most of them, I pack them up and I take them to the Goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
Some things that I'm like, wow, this is really super nice. Or if they have tags on it, I'll ask some of my girlfriends if they would like to have them.
Yeah.
I don't sell anything. I just don't have the time
Yeah.
or the patience to
Yeah.
do that. And I'm still shopping. Like I have a room in my house that just has all my clothes in it. So I'm still shopping in that room for things that I used to be able to wear. And so now some of those things are too big. So that's pretty much. Now I have made a lot of mistakes with buying things. Sometimes I get it. I'm like, wow, that really does fit nice. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, that's a little too small. And just to send things back is really hard. So that's
Yeah.
pretty much. What do you do with yours?
Same. Goodwill. We've taken bags and bags to the Goodwill. I actually just the other day put a few things on Poshmark because I was like, oh, I can just take the pictures and post them. And it was things like I had some jeans that I was like, well, I don't want to just throw these, like nicer things. I had some nicer dresses. I had a couple dresses that I had bought that were too small, and I
Mhm.
tried them on, and now they're way too big. Like I missed my window of opportunity
Yes.
to wear them.
Yeah.
And I was so bummed. I'm like, I can't just throw this in the Goodwill. I paid some money for this. I want to
Right.
get something back for
Yeah.
it. So I'm trying out Poshmark to see if that's how that's going to work. I don't know.
Well. Let me know how it works because
Yeah.
I don't want to. But then a little bit in the back of my mind, and this is the game that we play.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if I gain the weight back, then what's going to happen? So there is this. I don't want to say it's constant, but it is a thought
Yeah.
because this has been an incessant roller coaster ride for me, and I've always gained the weight back. My set point for my weight is I have several set points just because I've done this so many times. But
Yeah.
one major set point for me is 220. Another one is around 200. And so ugh, that's always in the back of my mind. Then I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what? You've been doing well. You're going to do this for the remainder of your life. And here's the other thing: maintenance. Maintenance. I've never been at maintenance, so I've always been on this incessant weight loss journey. It's
Right.
always been this journey of this weight loss, and so now I'm finally at almost at maintenance, And so now I'm like,
What do I do now?
because I'm a researcher, now I have to look into, what do you call it? Now my fat loss percentage is is not what I want it to be. And I think so I started doing the InBody scan, and I will tell you that I found out that the InBody scan,
Oh, uh-oh. Hang
sorry,
on.
I lost you there.
Yeah, hang
Oh,
on. Oh, whoa. Wait, here we are. Here we are. You keep talking and I'm going to try something. Hang on.
okay. So I found out that the InBody scan and the Renfo scale, the one that I have, are the Renfo scale is very accurate. Is very close in terms of what the InBody scale is saying. I was able to look at my body fat percentage. It went from a 39.9%. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, 49.9% when I started. Now I'm at like a 37% body fat. So now that's going to be the next thing that I look at. That'll be my next goal.
Yeah, I've got one of those too. So you look at all the different measurements. It's really, I love the data. I love to see, those different points with the body fat, with the muscle.
Right.
Did you lose a lot of muscle along your way?
According to Renfo, I lost 5 pounds of muscle.
That's not bad.
Altogether, I didn't think that was bad.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
But I will say my girlfriend that was strength training, and here's some of the pros and cons. She started strength training day one of her using Tirzepatide.
Uh-huh.
She's only lost 3 pounds of muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So I've lost 5 pounds. I didn't start weight training until like January, and I wasn't super consistent.
Yeah.
So this is the last month has been the most consistent that I've been.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to do that. So now, and I'll start going crazy with numbers. I don't know if anybody else out there is like that. It's like, okay, so and what about this? How can I lose weight and gain muscle? How can I do all of the things? And so my girlfriend Sabrina, she says, hey, why don't you just go back to focusing on your weight loss goal? And then when you get there, then you'll have your next goal of focusing on your fat loss percentage. Like you can do both, but I don't have, like, my mind, I have to be laser focused on one thing at a time.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I also think because you had a pretty high protein intake, so I think that probably helped you keep your muscle. So I lost a lot more muscle than that. I think I lost about 15 pounds of muscle in my 50, 60 pound journey. So to only lose 5, I think that's a good testament to, even though you didn't strength train that much or that consistently, the protein that you were eating consistently, I think that really helped a lot.
It absolutely did. I think with the protein, and one of the things I will say about the medication is that I have times in my schedule where it's higher levels of stress.
Yeah.
And what I can say is that even when I did fall off the beaten path, the medication allows you not to go too far.
Yeah.
Like, you went off the beaten path, but you didn't die there. And it's easier to get back on the train and do the right thing. And I will say it has changed my taste buds. I crave more healthier things now. The first 3 weeks that I was on the medication, let me just say, the C's for me: cookies, cakes, carbs, chocolate, and a lot of curse words. So every January, I would be like, okay, I'm going to fast from the 5 C's. I'm not going to curse. I'm not going to eat chocolate. I'm not going to carbs, cookie. I'm not going to do any of those things. And it never worked out, right?
Yeah.
So the first 3 weeks on the medication, I did not have one piece of chocolate, nor did I miss it. It was like a shock, like, oh my goodness. And then in my mind, I made myself eat it, and it didn't taste
the same.
it didn't taste the same.
Yeah. And I also find it doesn't give you that same hit, that same high or that rush where you like more, 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 more. You're like, oh, well, that was okay. And that's
Yeah,
enough.
yeah. And I can taste the preservatives
Oh,
in
wow.
foods now. Like
Wow.
I had some chips the other day. I could taste every morsel of oil.
Oh, yeah, because you're not used to having that.
And it's just my diet, I ran on sugar. And here's the other thing that I will say, I think this is important to mention, is that I come from a family that has struggled with addiction
Hmm.
on several different levels. So in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, I dodged all of
Those
those
bullets.
negative things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And not realizing that sugar is one molecule away from cocaine.
Ooh.
I did not know that. And I was like, okay, you're a sugar addict.
Yeah.
And this is a problem, in terms of your insulin and everything. And so I can say that it's really helped me in that regard. My energy was all founded in sugar. So I ran my body on sugar,
Yeah.
every cookies, cakes, carbs, candy, everything. It was all pretty much sugar and not much else.
Yeah. It just gives you that quick hit. And then you're just like, I need another hit. Yeah, I was definitely addicted to sugar. I love all those things too. The candy, the carbs, cookies, like the curse words, like the all my favorite things. And now, yeah, it's so weird. I can just have a bite or, something small and be like, oh, I don't have to finish the whole gallon of ice cream or the whole dessert or it's such a freedom, really. So,
Absolutely. Freedom, to me, the two words that I would wrap it up in is freedom and control.
yeah.
Freedom and control. When we were younger, matter of fact, my grandparents are from North Carolina,
Oh, yeah.
Raleigh, Durham, Apex,
Yeah.
from that area. And you had to finish every morsel on your plate.
Oh, yeah.
If that grandmother called you in for dinner and you didn't come quick enough, she would fix your plate because she was moving on to the next thing. And your plate of food had everything, like all of our meals were home cooked. I didn't know what a pot pie was until I got to high school. I had no idea. My girlfriend was like, "Oh, we're having pot pies for dinner." I'm like, "What is a pot? What is a pot pie?" I had no idea. So she cooked breakfast, lunch, dinner, the big Sunday dinners, all of it, but it came with all of the things,
All the
like
foods. Yeah.
all of the carb, everything. And she was very heavy-handed, and so
Got to feed those babies.
these babies, and it was rude if you didn't eat your food, and
Yes,
all of
ma'am.
those things. And so just saying to myself, I don't want any more.
Yeah.
It's okay. I don't want any more.
Yeah. We have to relearn that it's okay not to finish our plate. And children are not going to starve if we leave some on our plate, it's okay. Selena, it's been so nice talking to you and learning about your journey. I want to know more about your microdosing. So you'll have to come back in a few months and let us know how that goes as you move down and maybe move over to semaglutide. I'm very interested to know how all that goes. Is there anything else that you want to say or you want to tell people before we close?
I just want to say, first of all, thank you all so much for having me on your platform.
Sure.
This is the first interview I've ever done, so hopefully a
Been
lot of
great.
people like it.
Yeah.
Um, and the other thing I want to say is, I think many of us have received some negative comments. Someone said yesterday, "Oh, you're losing too much weight," or "You don't know enough about this drug. What are you doing?" And I just encourage anyone that if this is working for you, if this is fixing your system, which is probably metabolically broken, just like mine was, just continue to live your life. Don't let anybody stop you. You have struggled too long. You have been the same way for, in my case, in decades. And if this is going to work for you, I will tell you, my principal started. I'm excited for him. My both of my sisters have started for two very different reasons. One was very skeptical, and the other one was very interested. One of them, she couldn't get past her hormones, and she was the person that would get up and run 3 miles at 3 a.m. And she was that person that couldn't get off that last 20 pounds. And I know a lot of people say if you're not obese, you shouldn't use this medication. But for her, hormonally, it was just not working for her. My other sister was able to lose 30 pounds and to get down to an acceptable weight for her journey. So I am super excited about this. Girlfriends of mine have started, other coworkers have started, and I just believe that it's going to make a lot of people better. Again, you have to do the work, you have to work out, you have to drink your waters, you have to have your protein. It is not and it is not instead of, it is in addition to.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a tool. It's a tool in the toolbox along
Yeah.
with all the other tools. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Selena, for coming and talking to us today. Good luck with the rest of your journey. And thanks to everyone out there for watching the Downsized Dish. I'm Laraine Durham, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.